Ready to go? Start. Welcome to the Dawg and Gus show now on Field Radio.
What's up, Dawg?
Not much, Gus?
Not much. I'm really excited for today's show.
Me as well.
A friend of mine, Geoff Carty here, who owns and runs a company called Conkuer Clothing. Conkuer Clothing is a promotional brand that brings attention to mental health and mental awareness. He's going to tell us a lot more about that, but of course that's kind of the start of the mission statement, I think. Anyway, right?
Yeah.
Good start. Yeah. And so awesome to have you, Geoff. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's always good having a chance to get anywhere and be able to promote Conquer and the message that it stands for. So I appreciate you guys asking me to come on here.
Yeah, buddy. And so where did the, like, I remember obviously we talked at the gym. If you can tell, he goes to the gym sometimes, but for more reasons than other than being, physically fit. It's good for his mental. He talks about it a lot. And his YouTube page, which you should go follow, as well as his Instagram page and Conkuer Clothing's Instagram, and as well as YouTube. So go follow those guys for sure. Those pages. And did it start with you obviously we both have gone through recovery, and so have you, and there's obviously other things that have happened to us that affected us where we have that connection with our brothers. And tell us a bit more about where Conkuer Clothing, where in your, why it's around.
Well, for myself, I've always struggled with mental health since I was young. I pretty much see a therapist off and on since I'm going with about 14 years old and up from a young age. So growing up, I'm not blaming separated parents. My parents divorced when I was born. That has nothing to do at all with my mental health. That's they were never married. They basically divorced when I was 3. I don't remember being married. But that in the end did. It's amazing how things do come back and kind of get at you. But I had a lot of issues through my youth. I ended up ironically working in mental health. Growing around 2000 or 1999, I got employed at the Men's Mission downtown, right on Nicholas and Besser. That was my first hand experience at seeing mental health and the extremities of it, and knowing your own struggles inside what you deal with, and then witnessing others and how bad it can really be and how far it can really go. The lengths of people's struggles was a real big eye opener. Also seeing the lack of resources, the lack of help, the lack of concern. That was just a really big slap. It was a slap in the face. It was just sometimes you would sit back at that job and pinch I'm in Star Wars right now. You just couldn't believe some of the things you're seeing. And these people aren't getting help. And sometimes it'd be comical. You'd be like, why is he counting the marble on the floor at Smarties? Just because he's that lost. He gets no help. So that was my first step into that world of mental illness and seeing it every single day. And just getting almost desensitized to it to a certain extent, where it was just walking into work and seeing a guy talking to a wall and going, "Hey, Peter, what's up? How's the wall today?" You just kind of got desensitized, and that's not good. I started to realize this isn't right. Why is this happening? Yeah. So then, meanwhile, seeing that and struggling with my own issues, I was diagnosed with PTSD, severe PTSD, and anxiety, depression. From working at the mission, I went on to work for 20 years, 20 years with incarcerated youth. And that's a lot of mental illness, there. And again, it's another job where I watched a lot of kids come and go. It's a revolving door, just like adult prison. There's no difference. The charges from sexual charges to murder, It's just different ages. And watching kids come and go there with their families and their mental health, the lack of resources, the lack of help, the crying out for help and not getting the help. Like a lot of the times I could spend a shift like on the floor in a cell or a room for, a good 6 to 8 hours beside a youth while he just, had a weapon of sorts and wanted to end his life, and I'd have to de-escalate it. You're burnt out after that, very mentally burnt out. And you walk away kind of like, how is this kid not getting the help he needs? It was just, and it goes unnoticed because these kids end up going back into the society, into the community. And sure, they're regulated to condition-wise seek help, and they're told they have to get help for a certain amount of time and check in with certain resources of help. But then afterwards, that kind of just fades out. And then they go back to where they were. That put them in jail in the first place. So just myself, just growing up with mental struggles, getting employed right away, like long-lasting jobs, like 7 years or so I was at the mission, 17 and 20 years, 17 years on the floor at the jail. So seeing mental health in those two careers, it woke me up. And then in my personal life, I've had a lot of friends. This is going to hit me here.
It's okay.
Just because in the last 3 weeks, I lost 2 friends in a 4-day period who struggled with mental illness for a long time. And 3 weeks ago, an older brother called me on a Friday night, and then another friend and another circle of friends. I got a call on, you actually might know the person who called me, on a Monday, informing me of another friend who had struggled for a very long time with mental illness. So just in my personal life, seeing all the struggles of people I know and my own struggles, I wanted to do something for mental health. I wanted to make noise about it. So I had a friend who has a business where he makes apparel, the apparel shop. He's online. I call him the Gypsy. His name's Natter.
We don't know.
I'll give Natter the Gypsy a shout out. He had his own clothing. He makes clothing for all sorts of like schools, businesses. So anyway, we talked about it, and I'm like, man, let's make a mental health clothing line where we can donate like 50% of proceeds and give back to mental health facilities, resources, do what we can. Because it was a very big deal to me. So then, literally, came up with that idea, and it was 5 or 6 days later, my brother decided to transition and take his life to another level. So that was kind of like the slap in the face to go, hey man. I think it was also a whisper from my brother to say, hey, you need to do this. So from there, we created Conkuer Clothing, Conkuer. For everybody out there, I know you'll question it.
It's on my shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to be different. We want to we need to conquer this stigma. There's a stigma in mental health. We want to conquer this stigma, make some noise. I want to create I want Conkuer to be known as a clothing brand out there that represents mental health. I want it to be known when you see someone wearing Conkuer, they know about mental health. They know the trouble people go through. I want people to know they're not alone. And if they see someone wearing Conkuer, they get it. Like, don't struggle in silence. Make some noise. Know you're not alone in your battle. So I want people to wear Conkuer as a loudspeaker in society and just raise mental health awareness. And so, like I said, after my brother's transition, we came up with it, and it was awesome right off the start. We sold out in like 2 weeks flat. And I can't remember how much. We made a t-shirt and a hat, sold out in 2 weeks flat. And that was the thing with clothing. It was a whole new thing to us. We made a white shirt, a black trucker hat, white trucker hat. Yeah. Well, that's the fullback, right?
That's fullback.
Yeah, okay. So then after that, we donated half and kept half to re-up. And everybody said, make a black shirt and a black fullback. So then we did that. And then people wrote back, well, can you go back to the hoodie and make the white shirt again and make the trucker hat? Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this? So I was like, we're not the Gap. So we basically, I was trying out the trunk of my car. Like, I still have
literally, like
Yeah.
that's where I bought mine. Like, because I see you at the gym, and I was like, I want your clothes, you know, like, and he's like, yeah, no problem. Like, go to your car in the parking lot.
It's like selling my version of selling dope out of my trunk.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Which is where I used to buy stuff out of the trunk.
So it's no different for a lot of people.
Yeah, just different, way more healthy.
Yeah, so that's how we started, and then we progressed to the website. Again, which would be www.conquer clothing.com.
So
We have
lots of great stuff.
We have 21 items on there right now. Different slogans, different things that all kind of revolve around mental health, and we're just trying to consistently donate. And I know times are tough. I know financially for everybody, but I mean, at least we are trying to do something positive, make a difference, and just make some noise and change the outlook on mental health. And I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I've been blessed since I started. I've only had, this is how much I take to heart things. I'm sensitive when it comes to Conquer, especially. I've only had 6 haters in 3 years. 6. I had one the other day. Yeah. It's just, some people just don't get it, and some are aggressive males that I think it's people struggling within themselves that haven't addressed their own issues. I personally, that's the way I take it. But
anything that's negative is usually deflected, right? It's
yeah. I mean, I've probably been that person. So
have I. I mean, yeah, we weren't always.
No, we've been conditioned as males not to talk about this, not to show emotion, not to be able to cry about something. You know what I mean? And that's what you're bringing to light, right? For the most part, and it's got to stop. Like, we've got to recognize that yes, we do struggle, and yes, we need to talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, especially you're right. Men especially, and Irish men too, like all of us. But also, it is such a stigma to not speak about things. I remember, like, we always suppress things and we push things away, and we didn't know that we could contact each other and talk about something openly like this. It's not something that when you were younger, your buddies and you would like sort of sit around and talk about what's going on mentally and what's going on in your heart and what's going on at home and if everything's okay. And it's an amazing thing that you're doing. Obviously, Geoff, I've been telling you that for years, but it's a phenomenal thing that you're bringing to the table, because you're like, if somebody was to look at you, you'd be like, look at this guy. He's a big jacked guy. So I'd be like, you are, and you're good looking. Well, you're not like me, but you're good looking.
Nobody's like you, guys. Jesus Christ.
But honestly, like, you would think you have it all together, but you are so open with your story and how and giving your whole, here it is on a platter, like, here is who I am, and come and talk to me. And you also, I know that you say, send me a message to anybody that's struggling. You're like, send me a message, and you'll get back to them. And that's the thing.
I enjoy that. I mean, it's hard. Like, I'm not a therapist, not a doctor, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, but like, and just to jump back and referring on quickly on one thing, when we're talking about men in particular, statistically, 800,000 people commit suicide a year. That is, if I'm remembering correctly, it's one person every 40 seconds. 80% of that is men. Men make up 80% of the suicide rate. That's crazy. And the fact that men are also 3 times more likely, and let me be correct on my words here, I was going to say more than women, but let's be any gender. I don't want to get any hate mail for just saying men and women here. But men also are less likely, when they struggle, to ever reach out for help. These are stats. And these are the stats where all you men out there, those 6 haters I had, take in those stats, because the haters I've had were all men that accused me of making men feminine, which made me laugh because I don't remember ever snipping anybody's testicles off. All I'm trying to do is say it's okay to reach out for help.
Of course.
I held it in. I'm 47, believe it or not.
I don't
But-
believe it.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is the fact is I held it in for 40 years. My mother tried to I didn't exactly speak to the therapist I saw when I was young. And I'm presently enrolled in group therapy online, group trauma therapy, and it's 4 days a week. It's draining as hell, but I'm in a group therapy thing with like 12 to sometimes up to 15 to 18 people, where I'm in a group with people that are all struggling, such as myself. And I've never felt more comfortable in a setting being able to talk about my problems. Because sometimes when I look in the screen at somebody talking, it's like looking in a mirror. It's like somebody spitting the same toxicity issues I have. And it's just like I said in my video yesterday on my YouTube channel, mental health awareness with Gingy Beast, please support and subscribe. But I was just saying how I could put this guy on the phone to talk to my fiance, and she'd be like, oh my God, this is Geoff talking. It's just, you're in a group setting with people who struggle just like you. It's non-judgmental, and it's a safe place. And if only more people would realize sometimes being able to spit that venom out of their system is it's like being in the gym and lifting 500 pounds off your chest. It's like that's such a relief of getting it off your chest or out of your system. And more men need to wake up and realize that, because the 2 friends I just lost were male. I've had 9 friends that were male that have chosen to move on by their own hands. You know what I mean? Like, it's men. I don't have any female friends. I'm not saying females don't commit suicide. I'm not saying they don't at all. I'm just saying it is my experience, and statistically, it is males who are dominant doing this shitty thing. So I'm just trying to say to more men, wake up and open your eyes. Read the statistics. And when men say get help, it doesn't demean you. It doesn't mean your testosterone level is just going like this. Get help. Help yourself. You will feel better. So, and talking isn't for everybody all the time. I do understand that. People have told me that. I completely understand, because I was that person. I didn't want to talk. And I'd be that closed-mouthed person and wouldn't say a word. But once I slowly progressed with a psychiatrist and a therapist, I did learn how to open up. And it became easier. I'm not going to say daily or monthly, but yearly, it became easier. And I opened my eyes more to different types of therapy. So it's just something that needs to be destigmatized, especially with males.
You know, when you're talking, like when you're online and you see somebody saying the same stuff that you're going through, it's just reinforcing the fact that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely reinforces that you're not alone, that people are struggling with the same, maybe not exactly the same things. We all have different backgrounds, but we're all struggling with something. And to talk about it is hard for a lot of guys, especially like I'm older than you. I'm almost 60. So I was brought up that we're not supposed to talk about this stuff.
That's my dad's.
You know what I mean? My dad never talked about emotions ever.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are saying, "We'll talk about it." It's like, well, it kind of goes against everything I've ever been told.
Same.
Yeah.
You know?
Very, very, these things to your chest. Say, I mean, it's something that when you're raised that way, and because they don't think you have any real problems, right? Like they don't think you have food on the table, and there's like that's how my parents thought. I wasn't raised with any money or anything, so if we had a meal and we talked to each other, like we didn't really talk about like mental health. We didn't talk about what's going on. And my uncle, who was at the mission, probably when he worked there, he's schizophrenic. He passed away a couple of years ago at the mission. He was there forever. But the people that worked there, like, fantastic. One of them, so they were amazing people, and a lot of them. But he was mentally ill, and we didn't talk about him. Like that was like you don't talk about Uncle Danny, right? And he was a schizophrenic street person, and I used to see him all the time, but it was just, it's such a great thing to be speaking to a guy that, we can all relate to. Like, I go through mental health issues, Dawg goes through mental health issues, and so does Geoff. So, like, if you had a problem and you needed to talk to somebody, listen to what he's saying. Like, go see a therapist, like, get into a therapist if you can, and make sure that you tell everybody what's going on, because I'd rather listen to one person tell me everything than be one of 6 people that is carrying the coffin. So I don't want anything to do with that. I want you to come to me and have a discussion, and I'll never judge you.
We post on Conkuer Instagram on the it's Conkuer _clothing today. If you go to our story on Instagram or the Conkuer Facebook or Geoff Archie Facebook or Gingy Beast on Instagram, on the story there's posted the crisis hotlines for Canada, the US, and there's an international one posted on my story today. Plus they're in our regular posts. Again, that's for the US, Canada, and international. We have them posted all the time. And I put them in the story probably every other day. Like, it's sad because we live in a society that's stigmatized. This is so ridiculous. That's why I get worked up about it. It's because we're in a society that stigmatizes mental health. But yet, when someone goes and kills himself, and that's the harsh way of saying it, don't like saying that, when someone does follow through with suicide, we mourn them. And then after we sit back and we go, oh, well, what could we have done? Well, we could have promoted speaking up. We could have promoted getting help. We could have promoted, hey, man, I'm here for you. We could have promoted, let's talk about it more. There's a million things we could have done, but we just sit back and say, oh, I wish I was there for him.
It's true. And
I mean, I did that guy.
Yeah, so
Or I didn't see the signs.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's hard. It's hard because a lot of people hide it. That's a fact. You can't blame yourself. I'm just saying though, it's just like we do stigmatize this whole topic, but then after someone's done what they've done, we sit back and shucks, I wish I did something. Well, there are things you can do, like help me promote mental health awareness, or help another, whatever thing you find suitable that you bond with along the lines of mental health awareness. Go push their product, go push their message, just push something in that direction that brings it out into the public eye more, so people feel more in tune with it and comfortable to talk about this kind of thing. Because I'm like my dad's family, like 5 brothers, 1 sister. No, there's no talking about it. I mean, my dad's just loosened up in the last couple of years, but it's like Roman Catholic Irish family, eat the potatoes, and no, there's no emotion.
Food on the table.
Yeah,
good.
There's no emotion. It's like when my grandfather passed away, I'll never forget it. I was holding his hand, and one of my uncles came in. He was out of the country, and he just saw me go to check the time. My aunt told me to go check the time, and he looked up and he said, "How's Gramps?" Or he goes, "How's Daddy?" How's Daddy? He said, "Just left a couple of seconds ago." The first words out of his mouth was my other uncle's name, and he's like, "Who's getting the 2-4s and going to Polly's?" You know what I mean? It's just like transition.
Like, did he talk to you as a young person who's holding his hand?
No, nothing was, and I'm not upset about that or anything. It's just that's how the old school was raised. 5 brothers and a sister on an old Roman Catholic farm. Do your chores, eat your meal. I'm not gonna pretend I was there and lived with them. I know my grandmother was one of the most loving people in the world, but they just that stuff wasn't bred into them, like emotions and stuff. That's all I'm saying. It was a different generation.
Be a man.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's wrong with our society right now is that whole alpha male, that crap that you see on social media, and social media is the devil. I mean, I need it. I'm on it, so I'd be a hypocrite to say anything really, but
that's help.
It's a necessary.
Yes, it's a necessary evil, but there's so much negativity about it or on it, and like that alpha male stuff. It's like my post around Christmas last year. I made a big post about a video about speaking up, and I had 2 of my 6 haters. The 2 They went on.
Sorry, I laughed.
You know,
It's like,
it's fine.
fuck that, honestly.
They came on and went on like 3 of my posts and said how I'm the reason why men are pussies and blah 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 blah. So I sat there and I responded as politely as possible because my old school way would have been, "Are you in my city? Because I can meet you at the Petro Canada around the corner." But I wrote back and I said, "You are the reason why." Like, say some guy who's on his lowest level went on my page for support, to read positive reinforcement messages, to make him feel better. He's at his last string. And he goes on my page and he feels better. He's like, "This guy talks about this. This is awesome. I feel a little bit better because this guy's in tune with how I feel. He's promoting mental health. I'm struggling. I'm looking for an outlet. And this guy's helping me." And then he reads through the comments and sees these 2 douchebags saying you're a pussy if you're a man and you talk about mental health, you're making men feminine, blah, 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 blah. And then he reads those comments, and that last string of hope he had because of these 2 douchebags, he cuts that last string of hope and goes and offs himself.
Yeah.
That could be you. Those 2 douchebags could have been the reason some guy on his last string went and said, "Fuck it, I'm done." Excuse my language.
No, sorry.
And you know what I mean? That's what angers me. Like, just mind your business. If you have so much hate towards men speaking out about problems, go find a corner and talk to the walls. Yeah, mind your business.
Keep going.
Or just don't follow.
Yeah. There's that. There's like, don't follow. Just, people, even like anybody that comments on stuff, you better have positive for going out, or at least just let it go. If it isn't something that you're interested in, just pass by it.
I get the freedom, like, shoot your opinion, say what you will, but when it comes to life or death kind of stuff and people's, people make posts, and I'm not gonna lie, I agree with it a lot. I try to put this frame of mind in my own struggle. When people say, "Well, what about the guys in World War I and II, and they trooped on, they look what they had to do," I 100% agree. I had quite a few relatives who died in World War II, and one of them, actually, when he got home, he took his life from it. And you know what? I think about that all the time. I say, why can't I be as mentally tough as they were? I do use that as a push, like a motivational thing. But you know what? We're also in a different generation. I'm not going to say it's any tougher than what they had, because it definitely wasn't what they had to do. But people like to throw that in there. But again, we are in a different time. Things are different. There are different factors and situations. Life period is not what it used to be. And trust me, I have all the love and respect for any veteran. I could never do that. I mean, I could have, you throw me out there, yeah, but I'm just saying what they went through.
And then come home and try and suppress it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I have nothing but the utmost respect.
My grandfather's definitely PTSD.
Yeah, I felt chopped.
The phone would ring, like, phones, and we would be loud and he would jump.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, I always thought I was too scared of him or something because I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But then now that I think about it, it's because he was a medic in World War II. And bombs were going off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going on that point is the fact that, I don't think we need to compare the 2 eras because that people dealt with things differently. I'm sure that when we're at this stage in our lives and this time, I think that everything is so magnified as well. Like, you see people on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they look like they're happy and they're everything, and it's all fake, right? And I think that it's just a different time, And those.
No, you're right. I try to use it. What I'm trying to get at is I really do try to use them as inspiration.
I think so too.
I use them as inspiration. Like, I think about my Uncle Morris. I think about my Uncle Pat. He used to do paintings actually for the War Museum here.
Oh, really?
And I try to use them as inspiration. Like, imagine how tough they had to be mentally. Try to just enforce that in your own mind. I'm by no means comparing it. And you're right. Different generation, different time, different world. Way different world.
Yeah.
But I'm saying more or less that I just try to use it as an inspiration and try to be as strong as they were at that time.
Yeah, I think you should take that with your haters too, and just you know what, you're just going to motivate me more to talk more about this, because
yeah.
there's obviously something going on with you that if you hate this much on something that's, you know, devastating and is killing people because they're so low that they take your word, that's not right.
I'm actually pretty proud because of the people are gonna laugh at this guy. This guy's hate him. Yes, I am up. The stick to them. The hilarious part was it was amazing about it. I met 3 of them.
Oh, really?
And 3 of them flipped and converted, and actually purchased merchandise, which was awesome because it went into donations to the Royal Ottawa. And one of them has been sober 7 months now.
Good for him.
And it was just awesome because he was just in a bad place. And he just wanted to, he wrote a message on one of my things, who the hell are you to talk about mental health and what do you know? And I was like, well, here's what I know. I know that I wake up crying from PTSD and I wake up from abuse as a child. I wake up, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was totally open with him. And he, you know, you didn't hate anything to do. I just am very passionate about Conkuer Clothing because it's, like I said, 7 years working at the mission, 17 years working with incarcerated youth and seeing the struggles and my own personal struggles, losing so many friends to them making that transition on their own. I'm very passionate about it. So yeah, I'm going to take it. It's just like when I ask a friend, what do you think of this new shirt? Why? Why don't you like that shirt? It's like when I ask my fiance, when I'm like, what do you think of this font or something? Well, what? You know, like, I take it very personal just because.
Well, it's your baby.
Yeah, I just want it to do well because the better it does, the more donations I can make, the more I can help, and the more the word gets out there. I mean,
it's also a reflection of you. So like when you say,
Ginger.
yeah, you know, it's just you've invested so much of your time and your energy into it, and have somebody go, it's kind of like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah. I know. I'm sensitive.
Subjective.
Yeah.
It's like that gypsy. My partner, my one partner. I have 2 partners. My friend Mark is also a partner. You might know him. He takes care of the website. And if I didn't have him, I'd be lost because I don't know the first thing about how to do commerce. And we've had a lot of issues with not a lot of issues with the website, but the backends of how to do things. And like at 2 in the morning, I'll be calling, why is it not working? I'm freaking out. Like, why isn't the shirt appearing on the site? You do realize I work full time, right? You don't pay me either.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got Nader, who is the hands-on kind of guy. But it was funny because Nader, he could take this shot. Nader was funny when we started because Nader is, when we started, I was like, well, let's make an extra hat, an extra hoodie, let's make some colors. No. Black hat, black shirt. It's even simple. And I'm like, dude, just because you wear a black hat and black t-shirt and blue jeans your entire life.
Full life. Like, every time you'd see him at a bar, because he was a bouncer, I was a bartender, and Nader would always be cruising around.
Right.
And then we'd all see each other at Inferno or whatever. Nader was always in a black shirt, black hat.
So he didn't want to make anything.
You were always in a white shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He didn't want to expand the wardrobe colors.
Yeah.
That's why we got the website.
For the printing out and stuff too, like doing t-shirts and stuff, black and white are the easiest.
Yeah.
When you start to add colors to everything, it's just the prices start.
But that's the thing with the website.
He was trying to help you.
Yeah.
I'm not defending him.
No,
No,
that's why with the
he's a
website.
good guy.
No, he's awesome. I won't be able to do it without him. So, or Mark. But that's why we have the website because I couldn't hold merchandise on me, and I couldn't afford to drive around as much as I did. And without the website, we wouldn't have reached Australia, Japan, Poland. We reached
Iceland. Remember you told me that one?
We went far. Yeah, we got Iceland once. Well, like, I'm not saying we sold multiple items. I'm proud to say we've reached Australia, we've reached Japan, we've reached Iceland, we've reached Poland. I think Japan was the craziest one. When I saw that sale, I was like, oh my God, Japan. I was
That's impressive. That's a society that does not talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean,
There's many. You're right.
Well, that society in itself, like they have a ritual suicide there, or they used to.
there's also the suicide Forest, if you've ever seen that. I don't know if you've seen the have you ever heard of that?
You know what like the samurai used to do?
No,
No,
this is an actual. We're going a little off topic, but there's an actual. If you go on YouTube, I know William Shatner, his weird show, has also done a documentary on it. There's a forest in Japan where people go strictly to commit suicide. And if you go for a walk in there, you will probably find bodies. It's really it's dark and depressing. Let's move on.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, since we're to go a little bit about music, so
Let's do it.
because we are a music podcast. And, do you find like I know you're big into hip hop and so much,
Old school.
but like, do you find that helps with your mental health?
Yeah, music. I'm in the midst of a big struggle right now mentally. I'm really working hard to pull myself out of some darkness, and it's music. Like the first, it's kind of funny. I've been asked to do quite a few podcasts, and I've turned them all. Not turned them down. I just said I'm not ready because mentally I've been struggling. That's why it was awesome. I was happy to do this with you and you guys and bring me out of the shell a bit. And I did.
So important what you're doing.
The first one I did was DJ Ducats.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to that before we came out.
Yeah, I did that one with him. Actually, what was funny is what you said there. And that one, he in the middle of it made a comment, and which is what helps me promote. And I didn't realize it at the time. So I did a lot of public speaking. He came out and he goes, "For all of you who don't know Carty, he's this big tattooed freak or something like that." And he's like, "If he can talk about mental health, you can talk about mental health." And I sat back and thought about it. I'm like, "Yeah, I am this big ogre. If I can actually." It's like, that's my selling point. Big ogre, you can talk, you can talk. But his show was part of that because I love old school hip hop.
Yes.
And music, like when I work out, I listen to old school hip hop because that keeps my brain in a happy place. Like it's like when I talked about it yesterday in my video, my last video I put up referring to my trauma therapy. One of the tips, it was the ABCs actually. I just have this ironically. This is our ABCs. Like one of the things was accumulating positive emotions. So that basically was like, to be prepared, kind of like when you know you're going to have a panic attack or you're going to have a huge anxiety, like anxiety's going to hit you. Have positive emotions in the back of your head. Like have that in the storage vault. Like for me, I was explaining it. For me, jump on the floor, play with my cats. I have 2 cats. Yes, I have 2 cats. I will flop on the floor and they'll both come to each side of me and I'll just play with them. And then I'll put on like music, like old school hip hop. Or I'll put on Step Brothers for crying out loud. The movie Step Brothers. And have positive like emotions stored in the back of your head that you can always bring out to use as a shield so that the anxiety can bounce off that positive, like as a reflection. You know what I mean? Like so it bounces off. So you have a defense mechanism. And rehearse that. Like, well, we have that in here somewhere. Yeah, like we use it. That's just one of the 3 things. But it's just like, if you can practice having that ready when you're going to have an anxiety attack, it's an easy way. No, it's never easy, but it's a way to stop it, prevent it. To have positive emotions. Like you said, music is definitely a way you can prevent. I don't want to say prevent, but help you. Like I go like when I have my issues, I go for drives. And I'm talking, I could probably drive to Kingston and back, but what I end up doing is just I'll drive out to like Westport and back, and that's a 2-hour drive, but I'll just listen to positive music when I know I'm about to hit, like a really bad, like when I wake up in the morning from night terrors, that's like, if I don't get going, like wake up and go, keep the mind busy. You have to do that. Because if I sit on the couch, it's that spiral down the tubes. Like you have to keep your mind busy, keep yourself active, or you're going to focus on the anxiety that's hitting you, and it's going to bring you down that hole. So, yeah, definitely. I put on all old school 90s goals. Music? Oh. My favorite all-time album, Group Home, Living Proof, produced by DJ Premier.
Yes.
That's my all-time superstar.
It's pretty obscure, but it's very solid.
Yeah, superstar, favorite
It's an
song.
obscure one, but yeah, no, it's up there.
But yeah, I play that. That's like if I'm in the gym and that comes on my rotation, I actually will probably play it 10 times in a row. That's my motivational song while I'm training.
So, and you use the gym as your therapy, and part of your therapy too, right?
Yeah.
Part of your life.
That and boxing, when I can afford to continuously go, boxing is definitely a go. It's just a relief. I mean, I'm someone who has a lot to work on. It's always a work in progress. But boxing, hitting the bag, combos, just that in the gym. That's if I didn't have that stuff, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble.
I think that even when the lockdowns happened, I think a lot of people that I know that were, in AA, and of course, they started doing everything online. And going back to our mental health discussion, it was so challenging for all those people that I knew in AA that didn't get it to go to a meeting because they canceled them all. And then they were like, "Oh, it's online." Like, some of these people don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a computer. So how are they getting meetings? And of course, they could all go back out, fortunately. But people that are struggling with their mental health, I go to the gym for mental. It's not really entirely for physical anymore. It's more mental because I need to get that sweat out. I need to hit something. I need to push some heavy weight. And, I need it. I need it because my job's stressful. I have that history of issues with alcoholism and drugs and all that. But it's just, I find that time was really challenging for so many people. And that's the true, I don't want to say the true pandemic because there was certainly a lot of people that died from COVID. In this room, there we had people that I've had friends or family that have died of COVID. But, like the challenge of all those people that went through the mental health issues, I think it was really magnified. So what you're doing is that much more important. You have somebody to, go to on YouTube and watch you and what you're promoting and what you're selling. And, you're not selling it just to make some cash. You are trying to actually make money for.
I'm broke.
But you know what I mean? Like you're trying to, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Essentially, this is like, if you know how everybody has their life plan and all that. This is like this is your piece.
I'm trying.
Personally.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's funny to say that. It's funny because I've been blessed with really, some pretty, I don't know how to say it, big names. But yeah, I guess you could say huge.
On, man.
Yeah, I got Bumstead. I mean, I'm not knocking you, Chris. You're huge. You're huge.
You're bigger than him.
Yeah, but no, I wish I was as big as him as social media wise because this is insane. But what I'm trying to say is I appreciate Chris tenfold for what he did for me. He's posted 1, 2, 3. I keep track. He's posted my stuff like 4 or 5 times on his page, on his Instagram, and he didn't have to do that. I didn't pay. That's the funny part is I was going to refer to. People were like, some people that didn't know me were like, when they would see. So I have Chris Bumstead, who's 4-time Mr. Olympia, classic physique. Ian Valliere, his brother-in-law, who hopefully will be a Mr. Olympia in the open division. I got Brett Wilkin, another hopeful Mr. Olympia in the open division. Eminem's DJ, radio host on Sirius XM, Lord Sear, who is a very good friend of me. Shade 45. Yeah, he's amazing and a very, very good person. Who all these people didn't have to wear Conkuer or promote Conkuer. I didn't pay them, and it's just funny because everyone who sees Conkuer and then I got Nick Walker. I want to shout out Nick Walker, who is Arnold Classic champion, who could win the Mr. Olympia this year, very highly likely. I met him this year in New Jersey, and that guy was awesome. He had all these people around flexing beside him, and I walked up, and because I knew the owner of the person putting the event on in Jersey, and I said, I'll bring you out and meet him. And when I walked up to him, I said, look, man, I'm not here to talk to you about bodybuilding. And he was awesome. He was like, oh, thank God. I'm here to talk to you about mental health. And the thing was, Nick Walker, I said to him, I was informed by your buddy that you might not be able to take a picture with me with my brand because he just signed a huge contract with another brand, so he wouldn't be able to promote. And I talked to him about my brand. I told him about Conkuer, and he's like, "No, dude." He's like, "This is for mental health. Fuck it." That's literally what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, "Let's do it." So we took. He's there holding it. I had to send him like freaking 5XL or something. It's so big. The pictures are on the our Instagram. But like, so
Yeah, go follow because you see a lot of.
yeah, you'll see these people.
Yeah.
And like I said, Eminem's DJ, and it's just it was great. People see this and they're like, "Oh, you must be making tons of cash. You got these people." Hey, I've just been blessed to know Chris, know Ian. I lived in Florida for 7 months. Brett Wilkins, one of the nicest people I've met in that world of bodybuilding. He was great. I kind of trained legs with him one day. He super, super nice guy. Nick Walker was awesome to do that picture with me. And Lord Sear, amazing person, great human being, one of the best old school DJs, like musically. I love Lord Sear. He's my big little homie. That's my nickname for him, and I'm his I'm his little big homie. But anyway, he's an awesome guy. All these guys promoted my stuff. I didn't pay them. They did it out of the goodness of the cause and to help support mental health awareness. And I thank all of them very much for that. One thing I have learned through this venture and this journey is I have been blessed with these people to help me, but don't rely on people. Don't take people's words for gold. I should have known that beforehand, but I've had a lot of other big names who have contacted me because they've seen those people and they've said, "Hey, send me some stuff. I'll wear it and post it. I want to back your cause." I've probably sent a good $400 worth of merchandise to people.
Yeah, nothing.
Then they send me a message later with a picture of it. "Thanks, I received your goods."
Yeah.
Okay, cool, bud. When are you gonna help promote? Like, this is not for you to just keep in your closet. This is for you to wear as a loudspeaker and promote mental health awareness. Nothing. Literally, one of these people actually, and I'm not gonna say he did it on purpose, but at an event, he saw me show up in the States and he went out the back door of the event. My fiance was there for that. I'm not gonna say his name, but it's just disappointing. So it's like, yeah, it's just disappointing that this is a cause that,
Of course, you're trying to promote
people believe in.
It's real. It's like a real problem. It's a real issue.
Yeah,
and people to take advantage of your clothing line that's promoting mental awareness, mental health, and trying to make some money for the Royal Ottawa. That's who you donate to?
That's when I'm in Ottawa. Like I worked with NAMI, which is a nonprofit organization in Florida. I wish my end goal for my fiance and I is to end up in Florida again. NAMI was great. I was working with a lady down there, nonprofit organization, mental health. I was working with them. And in Philadelphia, I worked with a lot of kids. I'm not going to say worked, but like I was just really involved with a lot of kids in Philadelphia, and I enjoyed it very much. Here in Ottawa, yeah, it's the Royal Ottawa I donate to because I've always dealt with them professionally too. Like through the mission, the guys go in and out of there. The residents from my jail, I don't like to use the word inmate. The residents, my prime cases go in and out of the Royal Ottawa for treatment. So I've worked with them. I have friends in the Royal Ottawa. So I would like to donate to a place I know where I've seen the help they get.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lack of resources. There's a lack of help. There's, like I said in the very beginning, that's where I want to put money to that stuff because there's a lack of help. I have a lot of people who message me and they're really stuck because they're like, I can't get a doctor. I can't get a therapist. I can't find a psychiatrist. And I know that's real because the way I ended up with a psychiatrist was not a good way. It wasn't because I went trying to get one because I couldn't. I got one because I ended up in emergency. They were forced to deal with me. So our medical system, get me down that road, it's a whole other story. But
It's a big challenge.
we need more resources. We need more help. I'm not blaming the people in the medical field. I blame our government.
It's the tools. They don't get the tools
No.
they need. And that's not just like equipment. That's like actual funding.
Yes, the funding for it, like, yeah, that's where I go down that one, I get upset.
So that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's also not just the mental health part of it. It's just like nurses and doctors. We're short on everything.
Yes.
And the red tape that goes with that, like
Yeah,
there's 38,000 new Canadians that are all capable of doing the job, but they won't give them the job because they're not in. And it's just it's a vicious circle. You have all these amazing new Canadians that want to work, they want to be a part of the community, they want to work in the hospitals. They're not allowed because of red tape and political shit. You know me with politics.
Yes, we're not going to go down that road either.
I think they're all
Yeah.
yeah, we won't go there.
It's just upsetting because you got all these people who need help, and the ones that actually do want to reach out. And I literally had somebody ring me the other day just saying, "Do you know how I can find a therapist?" And I said to them, I said, "If you can't," I hated to say this, but I was like, "Dude, go to emergency, because they will be forced to talk to you, and they will be forced to recommend you someone. They have to." That and I don't like saying that, but
that's wrong. That's wrong in so many levels.
but that's how
I know. No, it's right.
No, I know what you're saying. It sucks. Like two occasions it happened to me. Like I didn't trust myself. I was in a very bad place. I locked myself to the Queens or Carlton, and they were like, I just explained my situation, and they put me in a room, and they were forced to deal with me. Because I had called several times on my mother's behalf, my behalf. I need a doctor. I need help. Well, we don't have any available. Well, funny, when I show up on my last leg, like, oh, poof, there's a doctor. And then now you're forced to deal with me. So that's the sad way you get help.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is.
And if it's lack of funding, lack of nurses, lack of doctors, period, I do understand that. So I'm not knocking the professionals.
No,
Like we say,
But it needs to change. It needs to be addressed.
Yes.
It's just yeah. It needs to, you're exactly right, Tom.
And that's why I have a friend right now who I have in my group therapy. I have to do this 4 or 5 days a week. We have 2 counselors throughout the week for 3 and 2 of the core classes. And then I have a single counselor. I have to do counseling. It's like therapy overload, almost like big time. But it's helpful. I'm not complaining about it. I'm getting the help. I have a friend who's in desperate need. So I'm trying to talk to my solo counselor and say, look, I have a friend in dire need of help. Is there a way he can get into this program? Because I was referred to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a referral. So I'm trying to edge him in here and say, like, he wants help, needs help. I want him to get help. I don't want him to have to walk into emergency after he's done something. You don't want that on anybody. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So it's a sad state of affairs when you're on your last leg, and that's the only way you're going to get your help.
Exactly.
So, but
the thing is you hear the passion in your voice, like in the.
I get upset.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. No, you're getting upset for the right reasons.
Exactly.
And it's the passion of your product that you've been creating, and the reason why you're creating it, and you love the fact that you're able to drive to the RO and give them a check and then help them.
That's the greatest feeling.
Yeah. You know what is funny? I've told somebody before, the best thing ever for your mental health is to help someone else.
Yep.
And to go, like, if I ever see a homeless person, obviously my uncle being a homeless person when I was younger, I'm very comfortable with them. I know that most of them are really struggling with mental health or maybe addiction and some other reasons as well. But usually I'll have a discussion with them. I'll give them a few minutes. I'll offer to buy them something to eat. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, look at me, I'm doing that. I just enjoy doing that for people because I think that a lot of people are desperate to talk to somebody and desperate to get someone to pull something out of them, because they're all holding all these things so tight to their chest and worried about what the consequences of, like all of us that are men or women or whoever's dealing with mental health issues are all desperate for somebody to say, what's going on? What can you tell me? Can I help you with anything? If you can reach out to me, I want you to do that as opposed to sitting alone and worrying about what's going on in your own heart, chest, your own brain, because it's the real deal. It's the real deal. There's nothing worse. Like you're sitting there in silence or in hurt, and I just want everybody to know that, like, if you had to reach out to, say, the Dawg and Gus Instagram page, or reach out to Geoff at, at Conkuer _clothing,
Yeah.
Conkuer.
Yeah.
And also Gingy Beast. Yeah.
Um,
But I ranted a bit, but it's just more, I really want people to know that we're all in this together. Like, it's so cliche, but everybody has the same place that they're going. It's just, you need to enjoy the ride, and if you can get some help with something, then reach out to us. Reach out to anybody that you can.
Somebody you're comfortable talking to. It doesn't have to be professional.
Yeah.
Somebody you trust, somebody that you can just open up to. Just talk to somebody.
Yeah, we don't want you to do things that you regret or will hate for you and whatever else, right?
that's like part of my struggle right now is I'm on leave from work. And I'm not going back. I'll just say that about that corrupt institution, which I won't name. But my job I loved, and I gave my heart and soul. And this will sound cheesy, I don't care. And I know to whatever coworker sees this, if you knew me, you knew how much I cared about the kids in that place. And all I'm saying is I went every day and I said it to my directors. I come to work for these kids. I don't come to work for you. I said that to my director times. And now that I'm not at work, this is where a lot of anxiety kicks in because I felt needed there. I was needed there. The kids will call me to, hey, can I talk to you, please? I need to talk. And I don't have that now. So I've lost that feeling of accomplishment almost, or a sense of purpose, yes. So Conquer now has become a complete purpose. Like, and those kids in that place, man, like, they don't get the help they need. They do not get the help they need. And it burns me just to think of what's going on in there where I'm not there, because I know I was one of the very few last staff that was there that would take a good 4 or 5 hours to sit with. Like one of my last shifts, I had a youth that was there he was the longest standing youth in the facility. And he asked me straight up one day, and he just started crying, and he's just like, can I just I just want a hug, man. That's all. He's like, I just want a hug. And I was like, no, hold up, just as a joke. This is a joke. And he's like, no, it's been 7 years he's had.
Since he's had a hug, probably.
So he's like, so I gave him one, and I was just like, that sense of being able to give someone that relief or that sense of fulfillment of, I'm still human, I'm still okay, I'm not this misfit, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still a human. And that person sent, a staff had relayed a message from that youth to me and just said, thank you for treating me like a human being since I've been gone. And I miss that job. I do miss that job with all my heart. I went there every day because I enjoyed those kids so much. So now that I'm not splitting my time with Conquer in that, I'm trying to put my full time into Conquer. And that's why I'm really trying to push it right now and make as much noise as I possibly can. And just even losing 2 friends, like I said, in the last 3 weeks is another sign that, like, this, you know what, we're never gonna cure mental health. Someone told me that the other day. They were like, oh, they think they found a cure in maybe 10 years for mental health. What? I don't think so. That made me laugh. I'm like,
There's too many layers.
It's gonna be here. Mental health is never going away. But at least while I'm here, I can try to do what I can to make a difference. Because I know so many people, millions of people struggle. I struggle. I mean, like, that is the funny part, like when I'm in the gym. You have people come, like we talked already, made the point, big looking tough guy. No, I just spent an hour in the parking lot crying. No joke. I just spent an hour. My night terrors destroyed me this morning. It took me 2 hours to get out of my apartment. And I just spent an hour in the parking lot crying. But there's been times where I go in the stall of the bathroom and I just sit there until I can. Let's do this. We got to pull our shit together and we got to do this. People, there's more than just me that's like that out there. You know what I mean? So that's the point of making this noise. And people need to open their eyes, because I get really, I'm that little petty guy too, where I'm like, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, what's the big deal about Mikey? Don't give you, why people buy Nike? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? I like my shirt. My shirt's better than a Nike shirt.
Yeah.
Big deal. I like the semicolon. You know what semicolon means? Do you? And for the record, for those of you that don't know, the semicolon is on all our merchandise. And the semicolon represents to support those battling with mental illness. It's the sign to support those. It's like an international sign to support those struggling and battling through mental illness.
I actually have a quote. That's just kind of funny. Fell right into. I have a quote that I found. I think it's important to say. A semicolon is used when an author could have chose to end their sentence, but chose not to. The author is you, and the sentence is your life.
I have that.
Yes. That was just like it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, holy crap,
Yeah.
that needs to be
Great
said.
quote.
Do you have any events coming up to raise mental awareness? I know you did one at the beginning of your when you first started.
Well, see, that's the thing that was really, you know what I mean? James would know, it's like, I mean, how many bars did you work in?
A lot.
So did I. And I went to 5 high schools. So when I started Conkuer, every bar owner in the city was calling me to hold events. So I held like a lot of events in bars. And then I sat there and I'm like, this isn't really the appropriate setting because people, this is the hard part about mental health, talking about mental health, that people think the stigma of it. It's depressing. It's about death. It's about, you know, it's a sad topic. People,
Yeah.
It's not a sad topic. If you can get a group of people like us talking about it and you can have fun with it. I mean, like, I have a friend who's really mentally struggling, but yet when he sits with me, we can make jokes. We're laughing. I'm like, how's your medication going? You know what I mean? Man, like, it's not a sad topic when you're open about it and you can relate to somebody about it and you make it like talking about a sports event. What's the big difference? There's like, it's just people are shameful of it and that needs to change. But that was the thing in bars. It's like everyone wants to party, people are doing drugs, and who am I to judge that? I did all that crap. You did all that crap. We just realized it wasn't for us at a certain point and things needed to be really radically changed. And sooner or later, those people will probably go through that too. But that was the unfortunate part. Is I did all these events in bars, and it got to a point where one evening at a bar, these guys were talking about their addictions, and I went through this hour-long chat with them. They bought like a shirt each, and then I went downstairs in the bar to use the facilities, and all I heard was, and I'm like, oh God, they're having a good time. And then I looked over the stalls and just kept going. Like, oh man, they're both wearing comfy shirts. So I'm like, dude, don't.
You're right.
I'm like, come on, man.
It's not the right.
It's not the right venue. So that kind of sucks. So I stopped doing that in bars. And I also noticed a lot of people like to, and this isn't being negative, it's just a lot of people like to, because I got ripped off. I got ripped off on 2 occasions. I got my money back. Damn sure I got my money back. But I got ripped off too on actually a total of 3 fundraisers. People are scandalous and they like to use a good, like along the lines of a cancer fundraiser or a muscular dystrophy fundraiser, a mental health fundraiser. It looks good on people to hold an event like that. Yeah. And then they turn around and scam you. I had it happen 3 times. And I got my money back from those people. Refrain from name calling or say their names. But
Or your methods of getting the money back.
Yeah, yes, that, especially on one occasion. But it sucks. So I kind of got deterred from.
Yeah, I see that.
I want to. Don't get me wrong. I'll tell you right now. In the States, in Philadelphia, the support is unbelievable. They support the football teams. Like in Philadelphia, the kids down there, I couldn't have asked for more support. Like every day, like once they saw, especially like I was friends with Bumstead too. It was like they loved that. They're like, he's their idol, right? So it was like
He's from
food. Bumstead? No, Bumstead's from Ottawa.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because
He's from Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that he was from Ottawa.
He's from Ottawa. He lives in Stewart, Florida, and I was living like literally. I was living like 5 minutes from Florida. Ian's from Canada. Yeah, they're all from Ottawa. They're all down there right now. Like, I'm not trying to speak. Like, I know their lives inside and out. I just know when I was down there, I would see them every day. Down there on 3-year visas, sports athletic visas. Okay. I mean, Bumstead's going to be there permanently, I'm pretty sure. because he's
I would suspect. I mean, he just kind of
He's the icon.
success.
but when he cuts his hair down there, the entire gym cuts their hair. Like, I'm not joking. The kids, and I'd be training beside him down there and talking to him, and kids just come in and beside him and stuff. Yeah, he's iconic down there. But slap me for saying iconic because of Kardashian disgusting things. But yeah, no, I do. I want to do things like that. I really, really do. But if it's like a proper setting where it's like going to be taken seriously, and people are going to be focused on the fact, okay, we're doing mental health, we're talking to mental health, and hey, man, if there's a booth beside me, like supporting cancer, a booth beside me, not where I'm next to a beer tub of Corona. You know what I mean? Like, those are the best choices. Yeah, those are the poor choices on my. I respect the fact I was offered those facilities, let me like those establishments. I'm very thankful they let me do that, but it just wasn't the right environment. I mean, bars, mental health, people are out for a good time. They want to party. They don't want me there, kind of like it's bad. You know, I'm never gonna say that. But,
well, you just don't want to be that person either. Like,
yeah.
I get it.
So that was, but yes, no, I would love to do fundraisers.
We'll do one. Figure something.
I would love to do something. I love, like I said, the right environment is always perfect. So it just, the bars
See if we
are
can get a music festival.
against the
I said it.
Yeah, got my hamster there.
Yeah.
Well, we better actually. So Jeff, we ask everybody the same question on the show. Doesn't it's simply their discussion today. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate that.
But so, is it 80s or 90s music for you?
Every genre.
Any music that resonates? Like, is it the 80s or is it the 90s?
Oh my God. My very first cassette tape, LL Cool J Radio, 1985. So.
Is he gonna say it?
I don't know if I'm gonna go with my first two cassette tapes were Tougher Than Leather, Run DMC, and LL Cool J Radio, his very first album.
Yeah.
Both of them. Oh no, Run DMC's was the first one.
No, but that's like a pretty iconic album.
I
know the answer.
I want to say even.
It's okay.
I want to say 90s too, though. That's a tough one. Stuck on primo beats and stuff like that. If I'm gonna say overall, I'm gonna have to go with 90s.
90s, okay, thank you.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you're smiling over there like you knew the answer already.
I have to go with 90s just because I looked at my playlist. Like if I pulled up my YouTube playlist right now, 90% of it's going to be like 90 to 95 hip hop.
Well,
Fair enough.
Of course.
That's probably what's.
Well, thanks, Jeff. You the man.
I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Go follow him at Gingy Beast. Check out his YouTube page. It's amazing. He does a lot for
mental health awareness with Gingy Beast on YouTube. Please subscribe.
Get some Conkuer Clothing. It's awesome. We're wearing some right now, but it's also got a great cause behind it. And support someone that you know that or don't know, and try and help them. Listen to them, and take a few minutes with somebody that you don't know.
Even if you don't have the means to help them yourself, be a third party, refer them to somebody, refer them to a resource. Just do what you can.
If you're struggling, talk to somebody.
Yeah, send us a DM if you need to. If you're out there and you need somebody to talk to and it's challenging, send us a DM. We'll answer you. And I know that my friend Geoff will answer you if you send him a DM as well. So thanks, Geoff. You the man.
Oh, appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.